Welcome to another beautiful day on planet Earth and another day of Dose of Did You Know, where intriguing, inspiring, unique individuals come to talk love and life. And I should really not make that a tongue twister for myself since I have to say it every day. And every day I screw it up. But whatever, we are here and I'm with a very inspiring couple, like one that I just love the love story behind, and I love it even better with all of this that happened behind the scenes today. Welcome, McKayla and Aaron.
Hey, thanks for having us and being so patient.
Hey,
well, thanks for having us.
that is what life is about, right? Learning patience, having patience, going with the flow. If not, I'd be like curled up in a ball in the fetal position on a daily basis, probably multiple times a day if I didn't learn that lesson early on in life. So
yeah, totally. I totally understand that.
Here we are. But before we get started into your story and what brings you to where you guys are today, tell the world a little bit about who you are. Like, who is McKayla and Aaron?
So I am a mom of 3 boys. I'm outnumbered in our household. And we have identical twin boys who are a year and a half old. So they're keeping me super busy. And then we have a soon to be 10-year-old boy who's in 4th grade. So they preoccupy majority of my time, but when they're at school during the week, Aaron and I team up. We have a chocolate company and we ship our treats all over the country. So we started that back in 2015 and it's just grown every year. So my day just looks like trying to take care of myself and practice self-care, and then also like manage the business and the household and stuff like that. Aaron, tell everybody a little bit about you.
Well, I'm a 14-year veteran, both the Navy and the Army. I started off in the Navy as a cook and then switched over to Army EOD disposal or the military's bomb squad. I know it's a wild shift going sailor to soldier and cook to explosive tech. But I wanted, once I got my first confirmed kill with a cheesecake, I decided to start saving lives instead. But the truth was, I enlisted in 1999, and by 2004, I was cooking for the admiral of the 6th Fleet in Gaeta, Italy. I was spending most of my time in Europe, enjoying all Italy and the rest of Europe had to offer, the Mediterranean. It was an amazing time, but wars were in full swing, and it just felt this draw to do something a little more direct. So I volunteered to go to Afghanistan, and I met some EOD technicians, learned that that's exactly what I needed to be doing. So I came back, I switched both jobs and branches and became an EOD technician.
I think that's such a cool story to begin with because it's like cook to badass. Not saying that a cook can't be a badass, but I'm just saying it. Just saying it out there.
Well, I was already a badass cook.
And here you are. Now you went back to being a badass cook with how did that happen, McKayla? Like, how did this whole fudge thing? Okay, I call it a fudge thing. It's not. It's like amazing. The caramel, the popcorn, it's a bit addicting. So I have to order it in stages. Or as McKayla, you're like, how do you look like that and have 6 kids? I wouldn't. That's how. I have to order it for other people, not just myself.
You're so amazing. So really it just started after Aaron he was already blinded. So he went blind in Afghanistan in 2011. And then 4 years later, he contracted bacterial meningitis and it caused him to go completely deaf. So Aaron has a cochlear implant on his left side that he can hear out of. But in the meantime, between like getting his cochlear implant and going deaf, they wouldn't put the implant in for like 6 months. So Aaron was completely deaf, completely blind, kind of just locked in his body. And he decided that it was around the holidays. It was actually around this time of year. And he decided he was going to start making chocolates. Aaron, do you want to elaborate a little bit more on what you were feeling and like how that whole thing went down?
Well, I can imagine being completely shut off from all light and all sound and just being trapped, just the loneliness, the isolation. I was sitting at the counter in my kitchen, just feeling really low, really down on myself. But I had McKayla, I had my family around, and we decided that we weren't going to be victims of the situation. We were going to take charge, and we were going to make the best of it. So the holidays were coming, and it was a perfect reason to celebrate what we still had and what we could be grateful for. And of course, Thanksgiving has got to be one of the favorite holiday, because one is an excuse to just eat like a glutton, and two, of course, it's when you can gather all your family around and celebrate what you're most thankful for. So we really immersed ourselves in the mission of throwing the best Thanksgiving feast imaginable. And even though I was blind, deaf, and I even lost my inner ear sense of balance, because my vestibular balance, I had a hard time even standing. But I hold on to that counter with an iron grip and still make desserts. And I started weeks in advance. I started making fudge after fudge, a different flavor after different flavor. I was throwing nuts and spices. I was even dumping alcohol from my liquor cabinet into it. I'm like, this will be good. And just making all these awesome things. And after 6 months of this awful time, McKayla said she saw two things on my. She saw two things. One was for the first time in 6 months, she saw a smile on my face. And she also saw that the fudge was piling up. So
she's like, we can't do this forever. Like, we have to dispose of this somehow in a healthy way.
Yeah, she started sneaking it out the front door. Like, you got to go stealthy around a blind deaf guy.
Right.
But
your fudge senses were
giving it away, friends, family. Yeah.
And that was the start of it.
Yeah,
that was
she gave it away to neighbors.
I got to go back though.
Sorry?
I want to go back. So there's the start of this fudge company, this blossoming that just actually brings so much smile and life and love to so many people now around, because every time you get that little canister or that box, how much excitement comes over you, right? Well, it does me. I'm talking about myself now. But before that, your love story is so unique. When people talk about having meeting and you really want to meet somebody and you see the inside of them. I mean, that's what everybody wants, right? In this world, is to be able to fall in love with the person, because that is how you develop such a foundation of moving forward. And I think how you met and your love story really is significant and is of that what people want. McKayla, you got to go into that. I want to know like how that happened, what you were thinking, and it was like long distance in the beginning. So you take like all of these like untraditional society ways of thinking, but you end up with this amazing marriage and 3 sons and a company and just jamming out life. So what was that?
Yeah, so Aaron's mom and my mom actually grew up together as childhood friends. So they lived just a few doors down from one another, and they spend a lot of time together growing up. And then fast forward, like they got married, like moved away. Aaron's mom moved to Ohio and had children, and then my mom moved to Colorado and had us. So during the summers, my mom would pack us all up in the family minivan, and we would drive from Colorado all the way to Ohio, like with our endpoint being Maryland, which is where both of our moms are from. So we would stop in Ohio and visit with Aaron's family. And so I always had a crush on Aaron. I just thought he was the most handsome ever. And so anyway, fast forward 20 years go by.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk. I knew of Aaron's injury. I knew when he got hurt in Afghanistan, just because our moms stayed friends. And then I saw on Facebook all of the good things Aaron was doing. So he was blind, but he was sharing his story. He was advocating for other veterans, showing other veterans that despite your disability or despite your obstacles in life, you can still overcome them and lead a really fulfilling and happy life, and still do activities that most people wouldn't think blind people could do, like climb mountains, whitewater kayak, run marathons. So he was really advocating in a way that I thought was admirable. And so we reconnected on Facebook. Aaron made a joke about being on Tinder, and like he's like, I just keep swiping right, and like I don't know how it works, so like whatever. But anyway, he made a joke. I thought it was funny. And so then we just reconnected. We were like, hey, how's the last like 20 years of life been for you? And then Aaron invited me to come to Florida and spend a week with him. So I did that.
Aaron, you're quite the stud. Look at you making like, just come on down and all these jokes. All right. Getting a little insight of Aaron's personality here.
Oh my God. So then.
Oh, wait, you
So we had a week-long first date.
Yeah. So Aaron, do you want to take over from there?
Well, you were doing great, but we had a fantastic week-long first date.
How I could ask Aaron. Aaron,
Florida summer.
Hold on, Aaron. What gave you the courage to be like, hey, come and see me and stay a week? And like, what were your intentions?
Well, it wasn't quite as easy as making a joke on Facebook about Tinder and McKayla responding with "That's funny. Come out to Florida with me." We spent months talking over Messenger and over the phone. I mean, it was like we were back in middle school talking into the night. So it wasn't. It was a natural progression. Like, hey, when are we going to get together? And it took vacation time from our work, and flew down, and it was fantastic. We had a great time. We really connected, and then when the week was up, she had to go back to California, and back to work, and I had to get back to my professional goofing off, and just a couple days later, I was in the hospital again with bacterial meningitis.
Yeah. So Aaron's mom had called me. It's like I talked to him during the day on my lunch break, and he was like, I just got home from a speaking engagement. I don't feel well. Like, he's like, I'm just kind of dizzy. I feel weird. He's like, I'm just gonna like eat some lunch and go to bed and like take a nap. I was like, cool. I'll talk to you later. So I called him when I got off of work, but like didn't hear back from him. And that was weird because I was used to talking to him every day at this point.
Yeah.
So, and it was like 10 p.m. Pacific time, so it's super late on the East Coast. And his mom called me, and she was like, hey, Aaron, and I hadn't talked to Aaron's mom in forever at this point, like a few years probably.
Yeah.
And she was like, hey, I know you were with Aaron, and she's like, he's in the hospital. He's in the ICU. He's intubated. He has bacterial meningitis. Since you've been in contact with him, like you need to get some antibiotics just in case that you have meningitis because it's so contagious. And And I was like, okay, is anybody going to be able to go see him? Because Aaron's mom lives in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, well, actually, it's Aaron's sister's bridal shower in Ohio. So all the families in Ohio right now, nobody can get down to see him. And I was like, it's fine. I'll like hop on a plane. So within 24 hours, I came to the hospital. So it was like 4 days after I just traveled back across the country. 4 days. So I came back, and Aaron was intubated. He was so unaware of anything going on, obviously. And he had broken out of restraints. Like, the meningitis just really attacks your brain and like makes you way out of it. And so he was hallucinating. But anyway, the intubation, they would like take him out of the intubation for a while and just see how he would do. And then like they had to put him back. And so anyway, it was a really excruciating process. And the doctors finally were like, hey, so Aaron's parents came just a few days later to help. And so I stayed in the hospital for like 4 or 5 nights straight. Then they came, relieved me, and we just kind of did a rotation of like being with him. And the doctors made their rounds one day and they were like, listen, we can't help him anymore. We have to send him to a different hospital. And he's also going to be deaf forever. Like whether it's the antibiotics or the meningitis itself, it's just attacking that auditory nerve and he's not going to be able to hear. And we were noticing it because we were like having to shout at him and he's like, it sounds like I'm underwater. I can't hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And, so it was really traumatic, really, so sad, that not only was he blind, but now and so within just like 2 days after they told us that, he couldn't hear at all. So Aaron and I came up with this way of communicating where I would write letter by letter, all capital letters into the palm of his hand. And it started out just as like pain. What's your pain level? And he like scale 1 to 10. And he would verbally just be like, oh, it's like a 7 or whatever. And then I started just writing everything. So before he got his cochlear implant, so like 6 months of writing in the palm of his hand. Now we use it if we're like, this lady's really annoying at this dinner we're at. I'll like write under the table. But so now it's like a fun thing, but you can hear. But anyway.
Yeah, now it's our sneaky little code.
Okay, I'm gonna be scared if like your hand starts gonna be like, oh, they're talking smack about me. I know it.
Now we just outed ourselves. I shouldn't have said that. But anyway,
I'm sure it's all good stuff too. Like,
it's
look
great
at those
stuff.
shoes.
Like, this food is so good.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So it's just been a wild journey, and thank goodness for medical technology, like allowing him to have some hearing back, and so.
I love how, like Aaron said, it was like this natural progression, like inviting you there, like, this is what we're going to do. You know, you get those feelings of sometimes it sounds out of the box, but it feels like this is just the way it should be. Yeah. And then it kind of just translated into everything. Of course, you're going to go back there. It was like this deep, I feel like sometimes people get this deep soul connection. Now I'm going to get all like weird or whatever, but
I love it.
You just know. You don't know why. You don't. It's just the way it's supposed to be. Like perfect timing, perfect place. That things you had to go through things in your life to get you to where you are, and then that connection is fully like matured, that you can appreciate it and accept it. And that's kind of how I feel about your story. Is that you knew each other, but it wasn't like you had a crush, whatever, but it was not the right time to get together when you were young and do that, you know, do whatever would have happened. It was that perfectly placed moment in your life. And then you kept going. So did you move? Now I want to know, like, how long did it take you to move to Florida?
So after Aaron was in the hospital with meningitis, I just decided, like, I felt that it was right in my gut to just stay and help nurse him back to health.
Yeah.
I didn't know initially how long that would take. Initially, when I left California, left my apartment, left everything, I was like, oh, I'll be back in like a week. I was like, we'll just like get him some antibiotics and he'll be fine. Yeah. But that's not it at all. It was very serious. I mean, of course, once you hear he's going to be deaf and cannot live on his own, you know, ever, or until like the situation improved. So things progressed, just like knowing, okay, he can't be by himself. He has antibiotics that have to be given to him every 6 hours, even once we left the hospital. So I just was like, I'm here to support you. And at the very least, just from a place of like, I'm so thankful what he did for our country. Like, just like, not relationship stuff aside, we were like, I was just there to help him as a friend, because I was like, there was no time to think about like relationship. We were just like newly dating basically. And but we have the family background. Like, I know he comes from an amazing family. I know that that our family's always been close with them. I know how he grew up and that he's a good person, and his family are great people. So I felt very comfortable in my decision saying, I'm just going to help you, because I'm thankful for what you've done for our country, and I care about you as a human. Like, you shouldn't have to suffer through this alone, or like if your family has to get back, like his sister came down, but she was about to get married, and she had a lot of stuff going on, and that nobody could really commit to just like moving to Florida forever. And I was like, well, I guess I could.
I'll raise my hand. I'll do it. Maybe this was Aaron's sneaky, like it started with a Tinder, joke, and then come visit me for a week. Oh, wait, hold on. I have to die. I almost died. I'm going to get her.
I know. Well, Aaron makes jokes all the time. Oh,
there are far less elaborate ways to get a second date. It's worth it.
Yeah. Go big or go home.
Right. So yeah, we just kind of it just kind of progressed from there, and I was like, all right, well, I'll take care of things, and then my girlfriends I think it was probably like 2 months into things, I was like, I'm not coming back. So my girlfriends packed up all my stuff at my apartment, drove my car out to me here in Florida, and then I stayed, but there were still so many surgeries and appointments and lots of things going on with his care. We still weren't even like dating or anything. We just were. I was like, I'm just here. I'm just like hanging out at your house. So
was it a slow kind of attachment that happened during that time?
So. Yeah, I think so. I mean, Aaron, what was it like for you? I mean, you were going through this like traumatic experience, and here I am just like giving you antibiotics.
It was the same as when I lost my eyesight. I had to learn all over again how to live, how to do normal things. And then when I'd lost my hearing as well, many of those adaptability, accessibility tools that I used, so that was rendered moot, and I had to learn all over again. That was just like the necessity for McKayla writing in the palm of my hand. We did it for 2 days. So in the process of just moving forward, we started rebuilding an entirely new life, both of us together, on to live an entirely new way. And we together were learning an entire new life. And as we did that, we grew together as a couple. We grew from friendship and romance to a little bit more romance, and so we started we started working together. We started a business, and the entire time the relationship just began to grow and become stronger.
Did you sometimes when you look back at things, you feel like that was the moment? It could be totally nothing came of it, but like it was that one moment in the elevator, or that, that you got a little close, that I felt like, oh, maybe this is something other than it is. Can you think of there's that one time where you're still going through this chaos and you're doing all of this stuff, but you're like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Aaron had. Aaron, do you have a moment that comes to mind that you were like, oh, like maybe I want to be with you?
There are all sorts of moments. Little tiny things. It was just it would show little pieces of humanity while I was trapped in the silence. Fun. One of the things I tell people is that McKayla is the only handwriting, poem writing that I could read. My mom and my dad would be there, and my dad, well, he's dyslexic, so sometimes he would write things backwards, like WE9. Is that a D? And my mom, she would do like finger calligraphy in the palm of my hand. And I'm like, oh, is that's a seagull? Are you saying is she must be writing in Cyrillic? But McKayla was just the only one I understood, and it felt as though the one really was understood me. So it was little things like that it showed that we were really connecting and becoming the connection just stronger and stronger.
Yeah, I think for me it was, I mean, okay, so through all this, Aaron's going through such a hard time. So like kind of grumpy, like I would be too. And I'm like going through the hardest thing ever aside from losing your eyesight. Now you're losing your hearing. So he was mourning the loss of his senses and what his life was once like, and now he's having to relearn it over again. And so at one point I just was like, I just don't really, I thought I didn't want to stay. Like I was like, I might just go back home, go to California. And so I just was talking to him about that and like what that might look like. And he was like, it's like, I don't want you to leave. And I was like, you don't? Because I wasn't super happy. Like I thought it was more, in the moment it seemed like maybe he wasn't happy because I was there, but looking back, it's just like he was going through a lot, and I took it as like he's not happy with me when really he's just not happy with his situation. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll just go back. And he's like, no, I really don't want you to do that. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, no, I don't want you to leave. Like, you're helping me through this so much, and like I can't imagine having to do this without you here. And I was like, okay. So that was like a moment for me that I was like, okay, like at least I know you want me here. I'm here to help you.
So isn't that funny, because we can let our own insecurities of life kind of take over and put on a definition of a situation that is not the reality at all. And like, it's so easy to look back and you were like, yeah, he was just literally, his life fell apart and he's trying to relearn. And yes, of course he was a crankpot. He wouldn't be, but you take it on personally and don't realize that, oh my gosh, he's falling in love with you from your handwriting, that you're just like, look, I just got to know if you got to pee or not. Like, you know, like, and oh my gosh, that's, I'm like going to cry. I'm like, oh, I will be.
I'll tell you something
emotional all day.
I'll tell you something funny though. When I just started getting my hearing back, clear, it was turned on, and it'd been at least 6-7 months before I could understand another human voice, and I could start using my and stuff like that again. And in the interim, in the entire span, McKayla had taken over all of my communications, bill paying, all that kind of stuff. And at some point, I decided that I knew that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with this wonderful woman, and I wanted to pop the question, and I wanted to make it as romantic as a deaf guy could possibly do, and be as sneaky as I possibly could. So I knew we were going to go to Nantucket because I had a speaking engagement. Even though my eyes, my ears don't work, my mouth works just fine. But we were going to Nantucket, and we were going to do a speaking engagement, but it was a nonprofit organization out there. And I sent a text to the organizer, the founder of the foundation, and asked him if there was a really romantic restaurant he knew of, if he could, set a reservation for me, and I would pop in at the reservation, at the restaurant, and he sent. Oh, fortunately, I hadn't realized that I had accidentally sent a text to this guy on a message thread that had me in it. So I said, I'm trying to keep the secret. And I sent it directly to her. So we're in the car. I'm in the back seat. McKayla and her mom are in the front seats. And I just chortled. And McKayla goes, "What?" "Well, you're about to find out the secret in just a second, because I tell you all about the secret thing before it even got off the ground." And she handed the phone over to her mom and said, "The next text that comes in, just delete it, please." Those two moments were like, this woman is just wonderful. So funny enough, as soon as it was received, Tom, our friend Nantucket, sends, "Don't worry about a thing, man. I'll take care of it. I'm the master of this stuff. She's not going to know what hit her." On the same time. So real sneaky, dude. Anyways, I told her mom, delete the next message that comes in too. And what happened was, though, despite botching every opportunity to keep it a secret, we still managed to stay covert. And we arranged a beautiful sailboat trip around the Nantucket Harbor, around the lighthouse, with strawberry champagne and a beautiful dinner on the beach outside this restaurant that was set up especially for us by the management. And it was all on the guys. We told McKayla that they wanted to film a promotional video for the foundation, and we were just going to be basically actors in this thing. So we're going to do all this romantic stuff with a camera nearby. And at the dinner time, the waiter was supposed to come over, tap me on the shoulder, and say, "Excuse me, sir, is there anything else I can get you?" And that was my cue that the sun was set. It was a perfect time to pop the question. Only problem was our boat ride lasted a little bit too long, and we'd only gotten to the drink orders before the server came out and said, "Excuse me, sir, is there anything else I can get you?" And I thought, dinner would be nice. Oh no, I got it. I know what he's doing. This is no, that's fine, thank you. And that's when I got on my knees. And I asked McKayla to marry me. It was absolutely wonderful. She said yes, and I had such butterflies in my stomach. I was when I opened up the ring, and she said, "Open up the ring box." She said yes, and then she goes, "This is when you're supposed to put the on." Oh yeah, and then she goes, "There's no ring in the box." What? Well, it had fallen out of its little pillow, and it was up in the lid. So we lifted it out. I put it on her finger, and we kissed and had a beautiful romantic dinner as a newly engaged couple.
Now, there you go. For all you men out there that pull some excuse out of your ass that you can't be romantic, Aaron just showed you how to do it. Right there, even when you flub up multiple times, you just cover your traces very elegantly.
Yeah, he did a great job, and it was really lovely. I'll have to send you the video because we have it on video.
Yeah, because it's for the nonprofit. It's for a good cause.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so
That is the perfect way to end out this interview of like the true inspirational love story that I fell in love with, that then just has carried on throughout your life with your boys and your fudge company. And someone put a link in there because everyone's like, what's this fudge company? So it is in the post. I did put it there. I'm not that blonde, but yeah, eodfudge.com. Just wondering. Thank you guys for really like stepping up, putting your story out there in your heart, because yeah, Erin, you have an inspirational story yourself, but together is really inspiring, and we need this now. Always. I always say, people say we need this now more than ever. Oh, hell no. We have always needed love stories through all of, beginning of time till the end of time. So thank you for sharing, or being open to sharing your story.
totally. Yeah.
Well, thank you for having us on. It's been terrific.
Yeah.
And I have one last question before you can leave, and you both have to answer it honestly with the first thing that comes to your mind on your own. It's not a combo question. It's one at a time. In this moment right now, what does love mean to you?
Do you want to go first?
What does love mean to me?
Yeah.
Love is devotion. It's hard work. And it's romance and passion.
For me, it's like after a really hard day with the kids on a Saturday. Saturdays used to mean like fun, right? And with babies, it's not so fun. It means you have to like be there with them full time. So it means like after a long day and like not even really talking to your partner at all, because you've just been like tag teaming it with the kids all day, and then they finally go to bed, and then you're like, hey, can you like rub my hair and rub my butt, like just hang out with me in bed for a minute before like I fall asleep from being so exhausted, and then just being like, I love you. Like that's love. Like my partner's there, he's here to support me, and like all day long he cooks food for us all day, like breakfast, lunch, dinner. Aaron makes it. I never cook in my household, so like I feel taken care of. I feel loved by him just in the small day-to-day things that he does to show up for our family and like make sure that I know that I'm loved and taken care of by him. So that's love for me.
You guys are awesome. Thank you for sharing again. I know I said it, but I'm just going to say it again because I feel so much love right now, and just you two as human beings. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being awesome.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having us on.
You're so welcome. And your fudge and your popcorn and the caramels are probably my favorite, or the little pecan cake things, or the little turtles. So actually, probably one of everything. I've got a multiple
so hard
of them.
To decide.
And the chili pops. Those are really good too. Those chili chocolate pops. All right. Enough of that. Everybody out there, as always, remember, love hard, love pure, and love proactive. Until next time, we will see you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
And